How's it going, guys? We're 6 here, and today I'm going to teach you how to beat adrenaline. Before we begin, I'd like to say this is one of the best levels made. I think a lot of people can agree on that. I've heard like zero complaints from any of the victors. I know plenty of people who love this level to death. It's very fun. It looks very, very intimidating at first. It just takes a lot of effort to learn it and then to actually pull through with it because of its length and learniness, but it's a really fun experience overall, even if you take as long as I did on it. I think more people should give it a try, so yeah, and I think you should definitely trust me on this. I mean, one, I've beaten the level, two, I spent like literally more than a year in it, so. Tip number one, you do not want to play the actual level unless you have a NASA computer. What you want to do is you want to go... You're going to search up Adrenaline LDM, and you're going to get Seabass Lopez's because it is a very good LDM. So this is the one that I used, and it worked fine for me. I didn't have any issues, and I don't have that great of a computer. I have a 1050 and a i5, I think, so I don't have a great computer, and this works just fine. Second thing, you see some people talking about like you get a bug at like 59 and you gotta go to like 120 or 60. I never got that bug from zero, so I just played the entire thing on 240. I don't know if Seabass Lopez bug fixed it, so I'm not exactly sure. So let's get into it. So this is, in my opinion, the hardest part of the level, the pre-drop. So I'm gonna kind of like separate this into like a couple of different sections. This to 15% is like the beginning / pre-drop. 15 to the drop is the build-up. 36 to 52 is the first drop. 52 to 70 is the build-up, or the break part, and then 70 to the end is second drop. So the pre-drop, I'll go kind of in-depth into it. Most of these orbs are late. It's just like kind of muscle memory. This part is like pretty self-explanatory. This ship part, it's like kind of awkward at first, but it gets consistent. That dash orb is not bad. All these orbs are buffers. And then that part, you want to click to the music. It's like da 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 da. And this part, you go up, black orb late, one click there, late, buffer, late, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. This wave looks kind of tricky. It's really not, because you go to hitboxes, you got a decent bit of space. The wave portal starts here, so you got plenty of time here. The hitbox for the orb is pretty big, and this part, it looks kind of weird at first. It's not that bad. Go back to it. You want to hit that blue orb late, buffer everything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This duel is like really inconsistent, but it's just it's a lot of brute forcing. I don't really know how to explain this duel. It just kind of works when it wants to. So the pattern that I do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, yeah. Just like the same pattern twice in a row. So this ship part is like super duper easy. See this arrow right here? This is the spot that marks where the transition to the next part is. So, because you go hitboxes, bam, this is right where it is. So what I do is when I get here, I just kind of autopilot and just pay attention to where the arrow is so I can get ready for the transition. Hit that green orb as early as possible. You can just hold. And then you cannot hold the entire way for this ship. I've seen some people do it one click where they just kind of like click here. I found that really, really inconsistent. So what I do is I just hold and then release and then press like right after. And you have to click there, and then you hold this entire way. This is the first like really difficult part skill-wise. The wave isn't that bad. You just gotta kind of know when like where the structure is for when it goes dark. And right when you get in the ship part, you don't like have to hit light, but like light enough so that you don't like go flying. You don't want to hold. I've seen some people like kind of hold and then try and bounce off this. You have to hit this very late. I do not suggest that at all. Just that, and then just kind of do the rest of it and get used to the moving objects. This is like, this entire part, like 26 to 29, is something you want to practice. This is another part that I found really difficult at first. This orb. So it's This orb, it's like, it looks difficult at first. It's not really. It just takes a little practice and like a little bit of timing. This part I kind of never really, I don't know, got like a full grip on it. I just kind of found a way and it worked. And then we're at the drop. So this drop is probably the learniest part. Once you like know how to do it, it's very, very consistent and you can do it almost every single time. Like I rarely ever died to this part towards the latter part of me trying to beat the level. So pretty much after this, you just want to hold a little bit. Hold, 1, 2, 3. You don't want to go like 1, 2, 3. You got to go like 1. You don't want to do like 3 clicks really fast. It's like 1, 2, 3. Because you cannot like do it. So the second you hit this yellow portal, you click. Because then you hit this spike right here. So it sounds really complicated, but if you just go like 1, 2, 3 kind of spaced out, then it works just fine. You cannot like click right at this portal. You have to wait a little bit, which seems really difficult. It's not. 1, 2, 3, it says invisible orbs there. Click this blue orb, and right when the UFO is at this blue portal. So click, and then hold the rest of the way. I think you can buffer that. I kind of time it just to be safe. 1, 2, 3. And you're at this duel. This duel you can do like 25,000 ways. Hold all the way here, let go, click right after the cube gets off the slope. Because if you click right there, then you die. Buffer those. Kind of time this black orb a little bit. I found that if I buffered it, that sometimes it wouldn't work. You don't have to click there. Hold. And so it's pretty easy. And then now you are at the break part. I said the break part I put in quotes because this is the second hardest part. Hardest if you're not consistent with it. And a lot of people do find this the hardest part. I know a couple people who don't. This part, you really have to brute force consistency because it's not the hardest part. It's just, it's on par with some of the harder parts of the level, but you have to factor in nerves and all of that. The ship part, it looks a little daunting. I didn't die here once, and I'm probably the worst ship player to ever touch this game, so it's not that bad. And then you have, oh boy, the 55 click. This click is the bane of my life. So you go up here, this block moves. It doesn't move exactly with your cube, and you kind of fall off just about here. You want to wait as long as possible and then like click very lightly, because if you kind of click a little hard, I found this happen sometimes where you jump twice and you die to this spike. The rest is pretty easy. Just kind of get used to where the blocks that move go. You cannot do a full jump there. So this part, you wait a little bit, hit that late. Light as possible, because you hit this even like kind of hard, then like that happens. So, and this is the part that's bugged. So I never got this bug from zero. What happens sometimes is you click the orb and it just kind of goes into the saw. It's a bug. It doesn't happen on 120 and 60. So I didn't get this bug once from zero. But if you want to be very cautious when you're at this part, if you have Mega Hack, just tab and then switch to 120. In fact, if you have Mega Hack and you don't want to like be bothered by like switching up all this stuff, just play it on 120. This isn't a high hertz level because there's not many tight waves and ships. So it doesn't really matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This dual ship is very difficult. I died here a couple times. Hold until the spider hits this orb. So hold, click. And then this black orb ship is a big choke point. I didn't die to it much because I was just really consistent at it for some reason. And I didn't find it that hard, but what I do is 1, 2, 2. And then just don't like hold, just get enough so that you're like kind of in this general area. And then you can start tapping again like here. This part is probably the easiest part of the level in my opinion, so you just buffer. hold. All right, and then now we have the second drop. The second drop is, well, it's an experience like no other from Zero. The nerves you feel here is like, it's out of this world. It's a feeling that I will never ever forget. There's like a bunch of ways to do this. You could just find your own way, because you can do it where you barely have to click at all. I do it so that I click a bunch because it feels the best for me. So hold there because there is a red orb there, and if you do that, hold, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, click, 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 1, 2, 3, and you're done. Click, 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 and that UFO click's a little tricky. You just have to click right when you're at the UFO. You want to hit this right in the middle, because if you hit it too early, you go over this for some reason. If you hit it too late, you could just kind of die. Nice, okay. I'm gonna be real, I don't really know how to explain this duel. Kind of wanted so that right when the UFO is like underneath this pink orb, or like a little bit before it, that's when you want to tap, and then tap right when the UFO gets here. And then you don't want to go like 1, 2 for this, because then the UFO can die or something, I don't really know. So that part's weird. 1, 2, up, 1, 2. As early as possible you want to hit this. So like, and then you have this part. So Electro's part is infamous for being extremely buggy and works 5% of the time. I know people who have died to Electro's part for 1,500 years, and then they passed it once, and that was the time they beat it, because the level is not that bad after it. This makes or breaks if you have a good attempt. I somehow got really consistent at it. I did not die to it. I was extremely lucky. So 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Yeah, that was what my click pattern was. I can't really explain Electro because I don't really know how it works. And then this transition is a buffer, so it's not that bad. And then, so this part is a little tricky. This part here, you click this, you hit this as early as possible, and then you hold here because it's a robot here. So hold, and yeah, this just kind of click where the orbs are. This last part is so stressful from Zero. And I encounter this sometimes if you do not hit this orb as early, if you're not in that blue portal as early as possible. Sometimes I died to this part while doing the, like, I missed like this little segment here. And then I'm going to give you guys a very fun fact. You can buffer the last click. I know plenty of people have had heart attacks of dying to the last click because they didn't know they could buffer it. So, pro tip from the Boy 06. The second you see all of the portals going crazy, you press and then you buffer it. And you don't have to time it at all. And that's Adrenaline by Weapon77 and about 500 other people. So yeah, that's Adrenaline. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I will be glad to explain any parts further there, or just give any advice. Yeah, this level, it's very, very stressful. It's quite difficult at first, but I found that it was actually quite easy once I knew how to do everything. It's just piecing it together, and then doing it for 5 minutes is the very difficult part. But yeah, this is just me trying to give you a bit of a, not exactly skill boost, but just some help, because learning it is most of the difficulty. So yeah, I hope this helped a lot, and good luck to anybody who decides to try the level over this. Let me know how your experience was. So yeah, I hope this helped you out. Leave a like, subscribe if I decide to post more videos, and yeah, take care and good luck on this.